right? If you're going to go like for a combined income, picking your partner is also important because you have to be on the same page, because now you essentially cut all those debts, all those, the water bill, light bill, housing, you cut that in half essentially.
Because you're sharing it.
You're sharing it, right?
Even though millennials don't want a man that split the rent, but continue.
Well, I get it.
That ain't true.
I get it though.
I'm just saying what the people
the
say.
internet will tell us
the
that.
internet saying don't split the rent.
The city girls want the men to pay it all.
I'll be honest, like, could I pay like 100%? Yeah, I could easily.
Yeah.
But I still like when you split things 50-50, let's say if I'm working on investments and she's working on like her podcast or whatever, right? One of those is going to pop off. Yeah. So if you split things down the middle, you have two opportunities to retire.
Welcome back, everybody. We're stepping into the RIM segment to relive explicit moments with a good friend, my brother from another. Mr. Brandon O'Brien is in the building today. We're going to talk investments. We're going to talk finance and everything in between.
Oh, yeah. My favorite subjects.
Money. His favorite subject is money.
That's good because some people are scared to talk about it. Some people don't understand it. So let's start from the top.
Yes.
So you are Brandon O'Brien.
Yes, I am.
Brittany told us about her messing with you in 8th grade, and then you guys have been inseparable ever since.
The 8th grade
the
fight.
slap that was heard all around the world
before Will
Smith.
But she talks about you a lot, so you're a good friend to her. Yeah. She admires what you do, and she thought you would be a great fit for the show today to talk about finances.
Yeah.
So what got you interested into money?
So when I first started working at General Motors, I met a guy, his name's Michael, and he introduced me to this thing called Bitcoin.
And tell me the year.
That was 2014.
Okay.
So after I found out about Bitcoin, he used to just always hound me about it. And we actually took a trip to Florida, and when on our way back, he was talking about it. And me and my brother at the time, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to buy 10 of these things, whatever, right?
What was the price for Bitcoin?
$250.
Well, actually, let's start because we want to start all the way from the basis.
Right. Uh-huh.
What is Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin is like a decentralized currency. So right now,
and break it down like all the way.
All the way.
Decentralized currency. So break it down for the group chat that's not in finance for our listeners.
So it's a decentralized. It's a way of trading money, right? So right now we look at money as like, okay, I take this piece of paper, I can buy a can of Coke, I could buy some food or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Essentially, Bitcoin's the exact same thing. The only difference is one goes through the federal bank, the Federal Reserve. Bitcoin goes through the people. So you're able to validate, you're able to make sure like nobody's falsifying any Bitcoins, there's no newly created ones. You're able to give like actual validation with no middleman.
Okay, and the middleman being the bank, the people that print the money, exactly. Or the people that say your account is overdrawn.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So it keeps a lot of people accountable. That's what I love about it. Secure, yeah.
Okay, so Michael from the GM,
yeah,
on the way back from your trip to Florida, talking your ear off about Bitcoin, and he convinced you to buy a coin.
Yeah, to buy a few coins that day, and
at $250 a piece,
$250. So I was like, and then at the time, I promise you, I said out my mouth, I was like, yo, that's kind of expensive for some imaginary money. I didn't know exactly what it was. So, fast forward, so that was 2014, 2017, Bitcoin reached $20,000 per coin. So
wow.
So now, you have a bunch of so you have overnight money. And you're just like, oh crap! My first thought is I don't want to lose it. So that made me start saying like, okay, let me understand what money is and how to make sure I don't lose it. Because another job I had, like I'm a software developer, I also play professional basketball. And it's known that professional athletes blow through money. And I see how it happens. It's not hard to do it. Like I've seen people blow through $4 or $5 million contracts easily.
Wow.
Because you overspend what you thought you had. Because when you had taxes and all this stuff,
Yeah.
you don't have as much money as what you thought you had to spend. So knowing that, I was like, I want to make sure I'm not one of those guys.
Right.
So I actually started studying money. And then it just opened a whole new world of just like so much stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So hold on, wait.
Go ahead.
So you got your contract, your basketball contract. What in that studying essentially made you want to save your money?
So that's the thing. It's not saving.
It's investing.
Yeah.
And when we think of investing, like for the people who aren't like really into finance, people will use their money to invest into ventures or like podcasting, for example. You want to invest in a podcast, I'm going to go out and buy a whole lot of equipment. But investing essentially looks different in different sides of finance.
Right. And what we also don't understand is investing isn't necessarily like, a stock, a bond, or a business. It's not necessarily that. It's literally anything that you could put money into and it produces money. So now like you look at like a long time ago, a car was considered a bad investment, but now you have Turo. So now it's an investment. So when people understand, because like I tell everybody all the time, I studied all industries a little bit, right? And you just have to pick what you're good at. Like, I do good in stocks and crypto, but that might not be yours. You know, you're good at owning a business. I suck at owning businesses. I tell everybody that. All my businesses, I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather be an angel investor and y'all do all the business stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you just have to know your lane and stick with it, you know?
Right. Okay. So now let's go back to the investing. So you invested $250 initially into the Bitcoin, and then it turned into what?
I will say I could say low six figures. It was definitely low six figures, and like a guy who's just coming out of college, that's just like holy crap.
Right.
Right.
That's very passive. You're not having to do anything. You're just literally watching.
In addition to a job at GM and playing basketball.
Yeah.
Let's pause for a minute for being fresh out of college, having a job at GM.
Oh yeah.
Let me brag on my friend for a second. Brandon is extremely intelligent.
Clearly.
These little ears and that big old head, it's a lot of brain in there. I gotta give a little shot when I can.
Yeah.
He's always been really, really, really smart. So, and I think that, because you've also always been talented on the basketball court. So when people look at you, and you're tall. So they automatically think, oh, he's a baller. That's it. But Brandon's always been like geek level, like all of my backhanded compliments, all from love. This is what we do.
But it's funny because it's really the truth.
Right.
Like,
So
I was honestly, I wanted to be an NBA player and an engineer equally the same.
Yeah.
It didn't want one more than the other.
That's amazing.
And
That's
just always
amazing
like
passion.
Yeah. And the discipline, another kudos to you, the discipline for you to actually like see it through to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have really just focused on one pipe dream and powered all the way through with that, but no. And I also want to thank your parent, your mom, and Biggie and Nana as well for steering you, because I know that was a heavy influence as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so straight out of college, I'm sure you had multiple offers.
Yeah, I had so the final offer was because I tried to do Portsmouth, tried to make my way into the NBA. That didn't work out too well. So I actually was sitting with and I love Blair to this day. His name's Blair Woods. He's one of the top trainers here in Georgia. And he was an agent at the time. And he actually had me a deal in Israel. And I sat with him. I was like, I have this job offer from General Motors too. Like, what should I take? And instead of being an agent, he was like legitimately a friend. And he said, I'm not going to lie to you, take that job from GM. And that I'll tell, there's like 3 moments that changed my whole life. That was one of them. Yeah, I tell Blair that all the time. If it wasn't for him telling me that, I'd probably be in a whole different path.
Wow. We've had a former overseas basketball player on the show. He's since changed lanes and gone through, gone the music route. But he said that that the lifestyle playing overseas, it was, lucrative, but the money went really quick. think he was playing in like Dubai or something like that.
Not sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was living the life. I love that Dubai League.
Yeah, but he was saying that the money was coming in and it was going out so fast.
It depends on what country you're in, because sometimes like this comes to like spending as well. This also goes on the lines of finances. Like, what do you spend your money on? Because like a lot of my friends, they're like, hey, I want to make more money or I want this and that. The first thing I do is I look at their budget. I'm like, if you're spending $400 a month in alcohol, cut it to $200. Now you have $200 to invest.
Right.
So it's like sometimes you just got to cut your expenses. That's step one. Cut your expenses.
Yeah, and see, that's the part that like the regular everyday listener really has to hone in on, because a common thing, like people that are just making it, do I even have money to invest?
Right. Yes.
You always have money to invest.
So what does that look like? Like how do people for I think that the median black couple in Atlanta, or I'm sorry, in Georgia, is making $67,000 annually, and that's 2 incomes. So splitting that by 2, then the average person is making like $33,000 annually.
So what's wild is that actually went up. That wasn't that, I want to say 4 years ago. It was in the 50s. Yeah. That was a stat I also looked up. So yeah, but you're right on that end. So pretty much you're looking at each person making $30,000. So yeah, that's why, in today's, picking a partner is very important as well too, right? If you're going to go like for a combined income, picking your partner is also important, because you have to be on the same page, because now you essentially cut all those debts, all those, the water bill, light bill, housing, you cut that in half essentially.
Because you're sharing it.
You're sharing it, right?
Even though millennials don't want a man that split the rent, but continue.
Well, I get it.
That ain't true.
I get it though.
I'm just saying what the people
the
say.
internet will tell us
the
that.
internet
Right.
saying don't split the rent.
The city girls want the men to pay it all.
I'll be honest, like, could I pay like 100%? Yeah, I could easily.
Yeah.
But I still like when you split things 50-50, let's say if I'm working on investments and she's working on like her podcast or whatever, right? One of those is going to pop off.
Yeah.
So if you split things down the middle, you have 2 opportunities to retire.
Yeah.
Instead of, one person doing all of it, and then, you better hope that podcast or better hope those investments pop off.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's less because, again, the social media people will have us thinking, oh, well,
he ain't paying that rent. I ain't sticking by him. So
Right.
so if you have a partner that is not as financially stable as you, what advice do you give to that person who loves this person for love and not really for finance? Like, what advice do you give to that person?
Well, you're gonna have to stick it. You're gonna have to stick it through, because like at the end of the day, like this is one thing that's amazing that I learned over time. Money in business has no emotion. So like if you love somebody, or if that's your best friend, or blah blah blah, are they good for the business? Are they good for the investment? Because let's say one investment I did was Ford. I work for GM. And I'm like, oh, what if I was like, oh, I'm not going to invest in Ford because that's my competitor. I was like, man, they're looking all right. Let me throw a little bit into there, and it made some money. I hate Apple products. I'll be honest. I hate Apple products to the core.
But
I can't deny.
You are an Apple user.
Exactly. And that's why I invested in them. I was like, they force you to have to use them. So I'm like, even though I hate Apple, all right, cool, I'll go ahead and invest in them too. It's like you have to look at it, you cut all emotions and you cut feelings out of it. And then you start seeing things for the bare bones. And it's honestly a different way of looking at life. Because I started to look at people kind of the same way as well. It's like, yeah, for instance, the whole Trump thing, him being racist and him being this and that.
Oh, you've been very vocal about that on your social media platforms.
Right. I was like, yeah, he might rub you the wrong way, but making money, like it is what it is. Like we were seeing huge increases during his time in his presidency
in the things that you were investing in.
Exactly. So I'm like,
let's get back to the investment. So once you figured out a way to get into the game, like you pretty much invested in the Bitcoin, which got you into the room. So then you had the opportunity to make multiple different types of investments, from in large Fortune 500 companies to even like startups and small businesses too, right?
Right. So there was also another turning point in 2016. I found out about Roth IRAs. And what a Roth IRA is pretty much you can take up to $6,000 a year, right? So pretty much $500 a month. You can put it into this account. Whatever money that $6,000 makes is tax free. So when I found out, I started my 401k, was doing like the bare minimum stuff. I had actually studied a 401k, found out I make so much money, just much more money putting in S&P 500. Anybody can do that.
What is that?
S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the United States.
Okay.
So instead of them putting, like I'm with Fidelity, instead of them saying like, oh, I want to retire by 2055, 2060, and then them just putting little small caps or whatever together, I said, put it on the S&P 500. I'll ride it up or down. But over time, S&P 500 brings you back like 10% a year. So imagine $6,000 each year. I was making $600, and then that $6,600 makes X amount of, and then I'm still putting money back in. I'm putting money in the gaps, and like it folds quick.
Wow.
Yeah, it folds very quickly. And then when I made enough money there, I actually hired a financial advisor.
Oh, wow.
And let him continue making that money. And I was like, all right, well, time to start fresh. So let me try it again. And then bought Google stock. That was a big one. I was looking. So I think it's a funny story because everybody's like, I don't know what to invest in. And literally I picked one day, I was like, I use Amazon, I use Microsoft, and I use Google. Which one do I think is going to take off? And this was in 2016. I was like, you know what? Google, you have to use Google every
For
day.
everything.
Yeah.
You got to use Google to get to Amazon.
Right.
Exactly.
You got to use Google to get to Microsoft.
You would think that, right?
Yeah.
So I bought the Google shares. It took off, but we know what Amazon did. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
crap, I picked the wrong one.
Right.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah. So I was a 1 to 3 chance on that one. So it's like everyone knows what they should invest in. It's just the fact that a lot of them don't. Like one share that I love to tell people to get into is Nike. It pays a dividend. And then like Nike was $60. When Colin Kaepernick had the whole protest, they were $60 a share. I want to say they're in the 200s right now.
Right. So that's what my next question was going to be like,
Right.
what are affordable investments for people to make? Like
For
if
beginners.
people have $20 to invest, if people have $100 to invest, is that even enough to invest in something?
What's wild is they made it easier. You don't even have to own a whole share anymore. They have like fractional buying now. Like when I first started off, they didn't have that. Now you can buy like half of an Apple share.
Wow.
You can buy a tenth of an Apple share.
And it
I'm
would
like,
still
that's
be
insane.
profitable
Yeah.
because Apple is
So if you
going
buy
up.
10%, let's say if Apple's like $300, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you own 10% of it, right? That would be what, $30 or whatever?
Oh.
And then
Now that's something that I can afford.
Right.
So it's $30.
Hold up.
So you put your $30 in. So now if let's say if Apple doubles, your 30 just turns into 60. It's the same percentages.
Yeah.
So I tell people also, don't look at your money. Don't look at the amount value. You got to look at those percentages. So I know if you can make 10% on $30, you can make 10% on $300,000. So it's all about percentages, not how much you actually like make dollar amount.
Got it.
And that's the key. That's a lot of the key, honestly.
So when you're dropping your ebook,
Because you need to really, it's unfair to keep, this is why we talked about this for such a long time, but this is why we brought you on the platform, because it's unfair for you to hold all of this knowledge and to not share it, right?
So that's the thing. Like I tell a lot of people this because I'm not like a financial advisor or anything. I just share my personal experience.
Right.
Because I think honestly it's just easy.
Yeah.
So I tell people, hey, this is what I do, and I have a group of 30 guys, right? So. My brother and me do this. We have these conversations every single day.
So proud of Braxton
right,
too. Hey Braxton.
Yeah, he's killing it. That guy, he's definitely killing it. But we brought one of our friends in. He's an overseas basketball player. He lost his job during COVID or whatever. And he was like, yo, what should I do? And I was like, buy this. This is when the Mara was a big thing. It was $2 and some cents. It got as high as $60. And he threw tons of money into it. And he made 6 figures chilling at the crib, not even hooping no more. So now when he got his next job, he's like, all right, cool. I'm just doing it just because, I love it or whatever. So he did it. And word got out, he was like, oh, this is the guy. So he just started bringing, and now we have a group of 30 guys who now, it's 30 black men at that.
Period.
Well, shout out to Ed. He's half Mexican, but we still throw Ed in there.
we gonna count your
So,
half.
we're gonna add
We
him
gonna
in
count your
there.
half.
So it's 30 guys, and 30 guys is 60 eyes on the market. So we don't miss nothing no more. So now everybody knows what to look for. Everybody
Y'all gonna
says
let a
like
woman
this
in?
and that.
And the
I
boys
found
out.
out that the group chat only maxes out at 30.
Oh,
Wow.
Apple group
How
chat maxes out
convenient.
at 30.
How convenient is
That's
that?
I have people hitting me
Kick
up
somebody
all
out.
the time. That people ask me that all the time. Can we kick somebody out? Can I get my brother in? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I hate to do it, but these guys been here from the jump. Like, I know one guy, I love his story the most. He was when he got into the chat, he was unemployed. He was just like, hey, I'm just trying to figure something out. That guy now works for a lawyer now. He's making great money in his investments and making great money overall. And he hit big when Dogecoin came out.
and I do remember when that hit like about
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say like everybody in that chat has at least made over $5,000.
Amazing.
least.
Amazing.
We need to get
Amazing.
Can you start?
Yeah.
Can I put Ish and I in a group chat and Laree, and we can just like do like a little.
Start the 30
Hey,
the 30
Larry-
black women investors.
Well,
Is she tapped in now?
She actually did, and she bought Ripple. Ripple, when we were talking about, it was like 10 cents, and it shot up as high as 80 cents. So per one she bought, she made like 70 cents profit, but we're talking about like thousands of these things. So yeah, so she made money already doing it just on the strength of like, hey,
I'm
do
gonna
this.
just after we cut this interview, I'm just gonna slide you my phone, and I got a good $25 to play with. Very serious.
Hey, I'll be honest, I was just throwing in Nike.
Okay,
Inflation's going up. Like this is like how my mind works, right? This free game, how I'm thinking of the market right now. Rubber's up, shoe, textiles to make these shoes are up. Everything's up, right? We know this. They're not going to cut their prices. They're going to increase their prices.
Right.
So therefore, if they increase prices, they're going to increase the price of the stock is going to go up. That's the only difference. Like, you hedge inflation by buying shares in companies that are like recession proof, essentially. People will still keep buying.
people are
shoes.
gonna still
Yeah.
buy shoes. People are
Right.
makeup is still so for women like us, like makeup, we're still gonna figure out a way to beat it down.
Yes.
Girls
Tech.
that wear weaves, they still gonna find a way to get them bundles in.
Mhm.
Right.
Do they have a stock for that? Queen Virgin Remy.
I want to say
All Virgin Hair
Alibaba.
Depot.
I want to say
Okay.
Alibaba.
Alibaba.
Was that. Yeah, they're on the. Last I checked, I know they had like an issue with China and their whole like stock market stuff.
Right.
So I know a lot of Chinese companies were pulled, but Alibaba was definitely on the market for the longest.
Dope. Dope. Okay, last question. Very last.
Yes.
No more, Brittany.
Yes. Okay.
I'm the last question. When do you know when to pull out?
That's up to you. It literally is. There was two strategies I had for the longest. One was just buy it every other month. Like, let's say if I knew, for instance, everybody laughs at me when I say this. I love Spirit Airlines. Like,
Okay.
Soul
I fly,
plane?
I fly
You
Spirit.
be flying Soul Plane?
I fly Spirit
Brandon.
Wow.
because
You
I
fly
invest.
Spirit internationally?
Because I invest. Yeah, I went to Colombia on.
Just this
Spirit.
last time in Spirit?
Is it the ratchet for you?
It's not that. It's like first off, I fly the big chair. It's
okay,
not
okay.
first class. It's called the big chair. But I see a lot of similarities with them and
I'm
Domino's.
so surprised.
But hear why though. So I slowly buy Spirit stock every check, right? Just slowly buy it or whatever, right? It's like maybe $2-3 right now, or whatever.
Oh,
right?
really? If
Well, they
Brittany buys
were,
it, I'm
they shot up, but they shot up like 10% not too long ago, and they remind me of what Domino's used to do. Do you remember when Domino's sucked and they had all those commercials like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we suck as a pizza company. What do you suggest?" You know how much a Domino share is right today?
How much?
Back then it was like $1.75. They're almost like $300 per share from $1. And imagine if you would have bought in back then.
Right.
And I'm like, to me, I'm like, I see a lot of similarities. So I'm like, I'm gonna try it out because they just acquired Frontier and another company. I can't remember.
It's
they're
not
bidding
Spirit?
to do-
JetBlue?
JetBlue, yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to combine with Spirit. And I'm like,
Really?
they're trying to do it
'Cause
for
JetBlue-
real.
Three trash hairlines coming
Yes.
together.
But I would prefer, because I've flown Frontier too, but JetBlue was a lot better than Spirit and Frontier.
They're trying to combine. It's like a
Maybe they're
fight
gonna
right
take
now.
JetBlue. Maybe they will make Spirit JetBlue. I would hope.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, but whatever it is, it's just as long as it's good for me.
I know that's right.
Yeah. So I do it the long term way, but there's another thing called the short term swing trading. Swing trading was very lucrative during the beginning of COVID. So what I was doing was I would take $10,000, right? I would have a list of 10 stocks each week, and I know how to chart read too. I would look for one stock that I think at some point in that day would go up 1%. And the option 1% is 10% on your money back. So $10,000 essentially make $1,000. So I would make that, and I'll just try and make $1,000 every week on the same 10,000. And for the longest, I was just paying my bills with that.
Amazing.
Take some money to the side for taxes, and then you use the rest for your bills.
Amazing.
And then you still have your salary coming in. You still have your other investments. You still have your financial advisor. It's just multiple things. Renting out houses. It's like stuff like that.
This has been the most valuable conversation of the season. Okay.
NBC.
Most valuable conversation of the season. I appreciate you for bringing him in.
You're welcome.
That was amazing. And I hope that all of our listeners out here can get into it too.
Yeah.
And then one other thing I do want to say, like, as far as investing, so also don't be afraid to invest in like friends that have a vision too.
Well, we got vision over here, Brandon.
Of course. And like with that being said, like I actually invested in a smoothie company called Fruit Jock. It's like my brother's best friend.
Bring it
and I'll bring him up.
I would look. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course I'm gonna give y'all some for free.
Yes.
But
we love free.
So if you know about the Atlanta Entertainment Basketball League, it was actually a big hit there. And they actually all have collagen protein in it, good for nails, hair, and skin. But for athletes, it's good for lifting. It's good for muscle recovery because the guy who made these, he actually was only eating raw. He's eating raw kale, like kale out the bag, and drinking these things. It was huge. And I was like, how are you doing this? Right. And he just like, yeah, this is the smoothie I make. And then after we had that conversation that day, he decided to start selling them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to help you push it. And, we're doing really good now. It's like day and night from 2 years ago now. Like we used to have packages. Now we actually have bottles, QR codes for like the recipes and all that stuff on the back. So like this is one of my investments I also did as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Slide me that green one up.
The green one? Oh, yeah. That's a good milk.
I'm going to take the that looks like, is that mango?
Oh, this one is called Island Salil.
See?
That's B12.
Yeah.
And this one's good for hydration, and this one's good for like vitamin C. Yeah, and all you have to do is freeze them. I've actually drank one
it's
from
frozen.
I think I'm drinking one as old as 2 months because it's actually all real fruit. So you just freeze it, and then you let it de-thaw in the refrigerator, or if I'm playing basketball, I just let it sit on the sideline until I'm done. Then just drink one, and I'm good.
So tell everyone how they can get their hands on this.
Oh, so it's at the Fruit Jock on Instagram, and if you DM the account, put your order in. Either I'll drop it off or he'll drop it off.
At the Fruit Jock on IG for sure. Okay, we got that.
Amazing, Brandon. Tell everybody how they can follow you. Do you have a page for your investment? You need to.
I
need to stop playing.
It's a lot of work. And
It is.
And my thing is,
You
like,
can hire somebody to do it.
And could.
I could.
Bless someone.
I don't know, because it's like
you don't want to make it a job, and it's not
I don't want
fun
to make
anymore.
it a job.
Yeah,
I
I feel that.
But anybody can follow me at Brandon_NLS, and NLS is of course for Next Level Scouting,
Another business that he
a whole
invests
other
in.
business. Yeah,
Yeah.
The
Of kids getting
investor.
to college.
Look, don't be trying to come up on and find your next investor through Brandon, because he's going.
Yeah, it's all connections.
He got to skim it through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Calm down.
I got guys who do it all, fix cars. I got guys who mount TVs. I got guys like you can just find people for anything. Like that's the beauty of it. Your network is really your net worth.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate you for stepping in and talking with us and educating our listeners. We so appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Anytime y'all want me in here, I'll definitely.
We will bring you. We'll bring you.
We got to lock him in with David, too.
We'll be back. David, follow him now.
Right. Tap in, David.
Because he loves that type of stuff. But okay.
All right, y'all. Keep it locked. Don't sleep. It's Nightmare Radio.
We'll be back.